Welcome to Strider Tree Gear. Today we're working on a little bit of more technical rigging, and so I want to demonstrate a couple of cool techniques that we use in some trickier trees. This would generally be a good option for a crane, especially if you can have access to one relatively inexpensively. It would be just a couple of picks, but the problem with that in this scenario is that I don't have anywhere to set up that's in close proximity, and it's not worth dragging in a big crane to do it. So our targets are not terribly valuable, so we're gonna avoid our targets, but it's a good one to demonstrate some cool techniques for you guys. So here, let's check it out. So what we've got here today is a big cottonwood. It's, those of you who know cottonwood know it's not a particularly stout tree. It's fairly brittle, snappy, there's quite a bit of dead in it, but it is alive and healthy. So we're gonna use it to rig itself down. What we're trying to avoid here are some telecom lines coming that are right underneath a few of the larger limbs going out that direction. We've got a little ornamental tree down underneath it, a couple of them. We've got a couple other little ornamental over here that are all within the canopy spread. So the idea on all of these is going to be to set a rigging point such that we're able to either lift the branch and let it swing, or at least have the limbs that we're rigging swing over and then drop down to a point where they're no longer over the top of our targets. So I've got two points up there, two rigging points, rather than just one. What that's gonna allow us to do is use the GRCS to, excuse me, we're gonna use the GRCS to apply quite a bit of force on that rigging line. And the reason I've set them in the way they are is it allows the forces to be distributed in compression along those two spars. So those two spars are going out either way. If I had the rope just going up and then pulling down, what the torque that can be really extreme is gonna happen down here at the bottom of the spar, and it's gonna tend to want to bend it or flex it. And that's a much, it's a weaker way to have that. It's a way that doesn't take full advantage of the tree structure, I should say. So by having the rigging line going from one spar over here across and then down, what happens when this is loaded, that rigging line is loaded, it puts the force along the branch itself in compression rather than pulling down on it, and wood is extremely strong in compression. So by spreading those two rigging points out in the canopy, I'm able to take advantage of the wood's natural strength and take bigger pieces, put more force with the GRCS without risk of tearing limbs out, even though they are just brittle cottonwood. So I want to show you guys that once we get a branch actually on the line. We got Dwight up there right now monkeying around getting the first one set. It's what? Yeah. I've got Dwight up there right now. He's got a spider leg. Basically, I took a second sling, used a little sheep end, tied it midline on my rigging line, so now he's got two ends to work with. One end is gonna go out to the tip of the branch, one end's gonna go out to the butt end of the branch, or at least past the balancing point. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna give us some stability. When I lift up on the main line, it's going to pull that whole branch a little bit up, and it's gonna allow it to swing over up and off and away from the lines that are running to our right. So because the pulley's off to the left, the lines are off to the right, the branch is in between them, it should just swing right underneath that, and then we'll be able to lower it down and it'll be nice and flat and fairly level. The other thing he's gonna do that's worth mentioning, if this is the branch that he's on, and we're gonna pretend my thumb is some of these sprouts going vertical, that branch has a weird shape to it, and I expect that if we just tie to the main branch, tip and butt, that the whole thing will wanna twist. And then that is gonna hang down and might even reach our lines. So what I'm gonna advise him to do is to put a half hitch here on the vertical part of the sprout, and then tie the end of the tail down lower on the actual tip tie on the main spar. And what that's gonna do is gonna give it some resistance to twisting. It's not gonna depend on that sprout for its structure because the end is tied off, but it should keep it from rolling on us and give us better stability too in this process. So we've got our little spider leg now in those two positions I was talking about. We've got a face cut that's fairly nice and wide in the direction that we want the branch to swing. And now I'm gonna have him get in position to make the back cut as safely as possible, so where he can duck out of the way behind the trunk if things break early and it starts to swing. And he's gonna make that back cut. Hopefully he'll stop as soon as things start moving at all, and we can just crank on it with a GRCS. He can stand in a safe spot and we can swing it over all nice and slow and controlled. So that's the plan. Here we go. Get out of the way. Watch out for that butt. Watch out for the butt. I'm gonna go ahead and lower this sucker here. I've got Dwight worked his way up the trunk a little bit there, so he's out of the way of the butt swinging. I'm just gonna try and ease it down. Hopefully it'll come down pretty nice and flat. And I'm gonna do it. I'm not completely in the way either, ideally. It pinched his flip line a little, which is a bit of a risk, I suppose. Ah, geez. Come on. Come on. There we go. All right, Caleb. Got those tips? Yep. It is nice to have a balanced tie sometimes, just for the sake of being able to rotate more easily. So thanks for joining me, Strider Tree Gear today. Hope you found that useful. That's a little bit of the rigging we do on a daily basis. That's one of the slightly more technical, more complex setups that we have. But hopefully it made sense to you guys and you can improve your safety in your rigging, take bigger picks, be safer, move faster, make more money. So climb safe out there, you guys, and I'll catch you next time.